Will Parker Messick dominate the Marlins tonight on a Friday night in Miami? Will the Yankees bats stay hot in interleague play at the Nationals? Find out now on MLB Bases Loaded. Huge card on slate today.
15-game card. It's us versus the bookies. Bases loaded, high noon. It's going to be a showdown.
On a suddenly not so casual Friday, the buy hat is engaged. Two questions posed, answers to be found. It is Friday, July the 10th, 2026, the final show of the first half. MLB Bases Loaded. I'm the Sharkies, Mikey, Mike. What's going on this morning?
Man, I am fired up here. We had a little 2 and 3 day with the show, but some really great insights, some information that cashed as well. So hopefully you guys were able to tail along. We had a couple questions asked yesterday. The psychological impact of a team exhaling collectively, and is there a way the Yankees can win? And how about our guy Wells goes yardstick out there? But man, I was just thinking it's so important you guys dial right in here at 12 p.m. because there's a lot of clutter in this landscape, and we don't want you guys to miss the information that we drop as we drop it here. This is the best damn baseball show on the planet, and you don't want to miss the action, whether they be afternoon matinees or it's evening days. You want to make sure you get involved with what we're doing here on the Sports Money Network. And nobody brings the goods like my guy Shark, and I'd like to think I can try to follow up with some goods myself. Shark, happy Friday to you, my friend. We made it, TGIFF.
Yeah, we made it to Friday. We made it to the end of the first half, our final show of the first half. You guys in the chat, join the party, hang out with us, and talk some ball. I took a loss yesterday. I just want to mention that. Guys, it's 162. We get to do basically an NFL Sunday every single day. So when you lose 7 units in one day, it is not a big deal. We get right back in there. I am absolutely fired up. As Mike mentioned, small loss on the card on the show yesterday. Guys, that was yesterday. We are here. We are now. It is a suddenly not so casual Friday in July. Let's talk some business, and let's go into the card. All night games tonight. We love that. Not a lot of chaos in the early afternoon. First game on the card, divisional baseball in the Central, National League Central Baseball here. Brewers-Pirates opening up a series to close the first half. Brandon Sproat at Braxton Ashcraft. A lot going on in this game. Brewers looking scorching hot. We nailed it yesterday. They took care of business. Pirates coming off a blowout loss yesterday, Mike. What's going on here tonight?
Yeah, listen, I'll be transparent. You called the over. I said I thought the under was a potential play out there, but I just can't get in front, don't want to fade the Brewers until further notice. That's simple right now. And if you want some detail behind it, look, they're 10-1 on the road team after a divisional game. And I don't think that changes right now. I think that it just tells me that they've got the better arsenal. And I tell you guys all the time, teams are built to play within the division. So if you're kicking the snot out of a team in your division, I think that continues. I don't care if it's Ashcraft or Ass Crack or whatever name he wants to go by today. Give me the plus 113 and the Milwaukee Brewers here to get a big score to kick this card off.
I think we're going to agree later in the card. Not here. I have the Pirates in this game, and I'm looking at the dynamic here, Mike, in terms of the Brewers. Back-to-back divisional series here, but we've told them for the last week, it seems, the Brewers own the Cardinals, and they certainly put that on showcase yesterday, winning 4 out of 5, the longest series of the year, including a doubleheader 3 days ago. So leave that what it is. They hammer the Cardinals. What do they do against the Pirates? Second series of the year. The Pirates actually took 2 out of 3 in Milwaukee, and I think it's a class shift. I think the Pirates are better situationally in this matchup, and you zoom into the pitching matchup. This is where you want to buy Ashcraft. Ashcraft is 2-1 at home in the division. He gets great run support generally. He's 2-0 in this line range, which is really important. Did beat Chase Burns heads up 1-0 at this precise figure, 126 on the minus, and did beat the Cubs by margin minus 131. He did take a road loss, or excuse me, he did get a road win in that series back in June at Milwaukee, 5-4 against Chad Patrick. And really zooming into this for Pittsburgh in terms of the bounce back, they are coming off of back-to-back losses. Pittsburgh is 5-0 last 5 off of back-to-back losses. So that's kind of their market cap at this point in the window. And Brandon Sproat here will struggle on the road. Disagreement to start off the card. Mike, we don't agree on the Pirates. We should just go to Pittsburgh.
Any Pittsburgh teams we don't agree on. They could be the Steelers. They could be the Pirates. I'm sure we probably would find a way to disagree when it comes to the Penguins as well. But we're in trouble here because you've got a team like this Milwaukee Brewers that, travels incredibly well. So I think you have to throw the stat book out the window when it comes to, like, if you want to look at Braxton Ashcraft's, home road splits and talk about how great they are, fine. But you got a team that's slugging above league average consistently down the card on the road. And that's a problem. And you're right. There are runs in Ashcraft games. Just a lot of times the other team's putting them up as well. So this will be a fun one. But I was just laughing when you came out there right away and said Pirates, because I was like, shit, man. Right off the gate, we got to disagree. But it's a lot of work with you, my friend. But I enjoy it because it always gives me a chance to put the asterisk on the paper and gives us something to text about later. So respect the opinion, but we're going to agree to disagree as we move onward for the show today.
Yeah, no, when you said that, I was thinking to myself, it's going to be October 27th. We're going to be talking hockey, and I'm going to be like, you got to fade the Penguins tonight. And Mike's like, no, I got the Penguins. And that's why I said we'll go to Pittsburgh. We'll get some beers. We'll agree on the beers of Pittsburgh being fantastic. There you go. But
all right.
Anyway, let's keep moving down the card. Next game on the card, 6:40 in Detroit. Phillies Tigers opening up a interleague series here. A bunch of these games tonight on the card where these teams really don't play very often. These teams have not played since last season. Jack Flaherty against Aaron Nola. Mike, I had the hat on yesterday. Phillies came through real tight, 1-0. What's going on here tonight?
Sharp lid, dude. In the arsenal. Maybe that's the lucky charm. I don't know. I talked about the, kind of spark in the clubhouse, the Yankees, right? We talked a little bit about Boone bringing that spark to the clubhouse. Don Mattingly brings a spark to the clubhouse. Don Mattingly leaking the news about players in the Phillies lineup, all of a sudden getting excited to play in the All-Star game. Kyle Schwarber, Bryce Harper looking to get in the home run derby out there, like an experienced ex-professional player poking the boys in the right direction. Now, you look at Nola, and he definitely has, some dirt on that jersey of his, if you will, for lack of a better term, and I'll be respectful of my future World Series champions here, but Flaherty on the other side, he ain't no pitch either. I mean, that's the challenge that I have with this game here is kind of like, how do you go and decide which one of these two plays you want to get involved with? Is Detroit that team that's moving into this All-Star break or first half of the season, fired up and trying to make some maneuvers? I found this one tough. I tell you, I'm inclined to take the Phillies just because of the price and fading Flaherty, especially after Detroit wins. If they're in the favorite role, you're 14-4 in those spots. So got to give it some respect. Jack Flaherty day or 24-7, 10-3 in these spots here when Flaherty is the starter on the season. So that being said, though, recent form does not have that Jack Flaherty of old. So it's definitely a little bit of a tricky play for me, but I'd probably be inclined to say the under and Nola because of the two guys here. Just seems like Nola had a shit start, looking to try to figure a way to come back and get after it here. And I'll go that direction, albeit though, man, it ain't easy because I got a huge trend in the other direction especially for game one of a series. It's a very tricky 18 straight W spot for the Tigers here. So I'm tossed up, but I got to lean to my World Series future Phillies.
I like that trend, Mike. I like the hat. The buy hat is engaged. Maybe you'll get on it. You said that was a great trend. And I think this is just a really good spot to buy the Tigers. In my opinion, the Tigers are top 3 buy team in the sport right now. They're hot and they're coming. And I keep saying this to myself when I handicap the Tigers. This is that team that was so hot early last year, fell apart, looked cold to start this year. So when they get going, they have the ability to run off a great 90-game cluster. I mean that literally. They can run off like a 60-30 clip. And I think that's what you could see here. And I think they're very motivated with the whole Skubal situation. You know, you're going to move this guy. He's kind of pissed off in the clubhouse, the whole thing. I think that has really honed them in. They're also very good at home versus the National League. They're 7-2 at home in this spot. And I think this is a terrible spot for Philadelphia, if I'm being honest. You saw Philly yesterday. Kind of a snapshot, in my opinion, as to what you could see all weekend here. They've been hot. They got Mattingly, obviously a managerial change about 2 months ago. They've been the best team in the sport. You scored 1 run yesterday in a win. It was the Jesus Luzardo showcase. The lineup did absolutely nothing. Now you got to play an interleague series against an opponent you really don't ever see before you host the All-Star game early next week. And Mike, as you mentioned, Harper and probably Schwarber in the home run derby. And friendly reminder, guys, veteran players like this don't oftentimes hit in the home run derby. It disrupts their swing. So this is a real big deal for Philadelphia and these players early next week. And this is not a weekend series in the division at Atlanta or the Mets. This is so off grid for them. And as I mentioned, the dead zone yesterday, I think, could continue here tonight. Final point on this. Nola has very precise patterns in his road efficiency versus lack of efficiency. For whatever reason, he's been very good this year pitching at the National League West. Only 6 earned runs in 18 1/3. He's also been okay in the division road, but if you go to the Central, I don't know what it is about the middle of the country. 19 2/3 innings pitched, 17 earned runs. He doesn't like pitching in the middle of the country. It's Detroit. It's Motor City. They're going to be blasting some Eminem. Flaherty's going to shove it home, Mike. You got some great data on this. Any further thoughts?
You know what they say, man. You only get one chance. Do not miss your shot to blow. This opportunity comes once in a lifetime, yo.
Appreciation is appreciated. If you guys haven't dropped a like on the video yet, please do it right now. We see our guys in the chat, 9 Legacy, 2-2 Spreads, Public Enemy, and of course, Ixnizzle hanging out. If you guys are in the chat, let's go. Drop a like, and let's keep it moving. Next game on the card, going to Washington, D.C. tonight. Interleague Baseball, same situation here. Yankees, Nats, just a one-off. These teams never play. They play once a year. It's very anecdotal. Weathers against Palmquist. Mike, this is really a pretty wild one, in my opinion. What's going on here?
I don't know how you can't feel like if you tailed me with that Yankees yesterday, you don't even need to get involved with this game. But do you want to back Weathers? I mean, look, this guy's coming off of, pretty decent start out there. You know, we talked about how they dominate the Twins. So does that put an asterisk in the cap out there? He had back-to-back starts against the Tigers. He goes out there and shuts down the Twins. He's been racking up strikeouts as well, but they're minus 163. So it makes it very, very tricky. To me, I think you got to take a look potentially at the Nats in the first 5 or nothing, though, only because of that bullpen implosion. But I think the better play here is to take some runs. Take the Yankees to score in this first 5. Bats have finally woken up. I think the first and second time through the order, they touch up, this Palmquist cat and make it a thing. So runs, it's at a 10. That makes sense. Weathers probably gives up a lot of runs. First 5. I just wonder if the Nats can get going quickly enough here, or do those pinstripes enamor them? They talk about, why does Tiger Woods wear red on Sunday? It's a psychological advantage. The other team's sitting there looking at this Sunday Tiger red and they're shook. Well, it kind of does the same thing with the pinstripes. So we'll see if they shake him or not here. But I like the Yankees to go out there and put some runs up in the first 5.
I agree. Best look in this game for me is the over. And the market agrees. This was at 9.5. It's 10 or 10.5 now. And you just go through this. This is just a great total to buy the Yankees bats. They exploded yesterday. Rasmussen had owned them all season, and they put up 12. So I'm going through this, Mike, and I found this pattern, which I got to be honest is unbelievably clear and just the stuff that I truly enjoy. The Yankees won the game yesterday 12-4. The last time the Yankees won a road game by that precise score, 12-4, they stayed on the road, and Ryan Weathers pitched the very next night in a road start. And the game also went over 8-3 on a 9.5 number at Houston. It's going to go over. The Yankees bats are going to cluster. They've been in a complete slumber for weeks. We talked about it yesterday before they did clobber the Rays on the road. I said they had the worst sample of batting metrics since 1898. I actually had to do the research myself. It was actually 128 years. So when they wake up, they will wake up. And final point on this, the Yankees started 5-0-2 this year to the under in road games at the National League in interleague play. They are 2-0 last two to the over, and these bats will explode against this guy, Palmquist. Neither pitcher will be performing here. Very, very wide open game expected tonight in Washington. The chat agrees. If you guys are in the chat, type over if you're hanging out with us on this one. Let's cash and let's keep it moving. Next game on the card, going to Baltimore. Royals opening up a weekend series here. Luinder Avila at Brandon Young. Mike, we talk about Avila all the time. This guy, for whatever reason, is a great road pitcher. However, the Royals are not a great road team. What's going on in this game?
Well, you know who's not a great team, period, is Baltimore, right? It's that inability to catch runs. Now, we did catch them yesterday. I gave you guys that, I think it was a 25-0, 22-year trend or something like that. It was a terrific opportunity to take some live betting, too. I mean, I think I got a plus 688 or something like that. It was tight. It was 2-1. The Cubs snuck back on top of them, boys, and they were able to figure it out here. But still, the average team score is 3.5 runs in baseball, and they won that game despite the fact that their bats are fucking horrible. So, no, I'm not going to take Baltimore. Yes, I am going to take Avila. You know, what's the number with this guy? They're fucking 4-1 in their last 5 with him as a starter on top of it. And because he doesn't have the name brand and the Kansas City bats aren't red hot, you're getting a discount. You're getting a pitcher that's picking up W's. You talk about that profitability by pitcher report right now. And guess what? You got 81% of the bets and 85% of the cash that think that this Orioles team all of a sudden just woke up this morning and they decided to choose violence. I don't think so, man. Give me the Kansas City Royals. I'll take the plus 138.
Yeah, I wouldn't disagree. The conversation with Avila is road pitcher. He is 4-0 on the road. We've talked about this every time this comes up. Actually, 5-0 on the road. 2-0, 3-0 outside of the division. 1-0 at this division. Did beat Tampa Bay 12-5. I didn't get there. That was my thought, though. However, you want to back this guy on the road. Brandon Young has shown upside. I would lean towards the Royals, however. Haven't gotten there officially yet. Royals for Mike. I do like that side. And we will keep it moving. Next game on the card, divisional baseball tonight in Cincinnati. Cubs, Reds, game 1 of this series. Shota Imanaga at Hunter Green. Hunter Green making his second start of the year coming off surgery. Imanaga looking consistently inconsistent, Mike. What's going on in this game?
Yeah, listen, you're right. I mean, we found some really great spots to fade. The Imanaga bus does concern me that they come in here. And I think this is one of them spots here where it's fatigue factor for the Cincinnati Reds. They gave everything they had against them fighting Phils. They kept the runs down. We're not seeing that same horseshoe up their ass that we saw at the start of the season where they just couldn't do any wrong. And from an Imanaga standpoint, you know, he's coming off a disappointing loss. It was 3-0, though. It's not like it was really his fault. I mean, he had 8 strikeouts in the damn thing. It was against the Cardinals, who have no business being as lucky and as hot as they are right now as well. Prior to that, he shut down Colorado. He went on the road to gas the Mets. He took out San Diego Padres in a 3-2 showdown. So this guy in Imanaga-san is equipped to battle, whether it be his demons or road aces or home aces. I'll take the Cubs, man. I think I stand by what I said. You know, this lineup with the Reds, not bad here, but in the dog roll versus the NL Central, they do not win. How about this? In the last 21 games, if they're a slight dog and you think you're getting home value, you're wrong, man. You're 19-2 to the fade in those spots out there. So Imanaga-san opens this series up and gets the Cubs moving in the right direction.
Yeah, our guy in the chat says consistently inconsistent, which equals consistent. Yeah, it's kind of a statistical term for being real pattern oriented, where you are consistent, but there is a scatteredness to the zigzag effect. But
yeah, you fucking suck and you do it regularly.
Yeah, it's all our beautiful Ivy League terminology here. You know, we like to sound smart, of course, but you know who's not real smart this season so far? It's Hunter Green. 1 start, 8 earned runs. I don't know if that fixes itself quickly here, if we're being honest, particularly versus a divisional opponent. That was against Baltimore outside of the division last Saturday on the 4th. Of course, you could ask yourself, was he distracted by the fireworks of the 4th in this country? Maybe. But I think this is going to be a struggle, and I think the over is the best look in this game. This is yet another one of those stinky lines we've been talking about all year. You got Imanaga, who's supposed to be a top-end rotation guy. You got Hunter Green, who really is theoretically the ace in terms of prototype for the Reds, and your line is 9.5. Books don't think Green's going to improve, and they think Imanaga is going to get hit. We've told you Imanaga this year has been all over the place. His only divisional road start was an over, also on a Friday night. It was May 29th at St. Louis. 3 home runs against in 5 1/3, 6-5 over. I think he's going to give up the home run ball. I think you're going to see an explosion off that shutout loss yesterday for the Reds. And Mike, something we're talking about every show here in the middle of the summer, it's hot. It's hard to pitch. It's labor time for these guys. They're sweaty, and maybe the balls have a little more juice in them than they did 2 months ago. Mike, any thoughts on the total or keeping it moving?
Well, I think the big thing about that, though, the one aspect I'll question there is Hunter Green their ace? And I don't think he is. I think it's Andrew Abbott that they've shown time and again is in the number 1 spot. I mean, the dude's just coming back in here, and he's been puking up runs when he's doing it. So I think that the Reds are playing chess in this one. I think they've decided to punt. They're not putting their number 1 out there because they know Imanaga is going to go out there and mow these boys down. And then when we see the Andy Abbott matchup, that'll be some fun, and probably see what they who they're going to put out there. What's this pitching situation look like here? Because maybe we can forecast out a little bit with this thing, since we are in a weekend mode coming up here. And as you pointed out, the last show for the first half here, but I'll take a look and see what the roster looks like and holds up with here. But I would venture a guess that you look at their bullpen or their starting pitchers right now, it's definitely Andy Abbott. And I don't know if anybody's going to be able to match what he can put out there from a Cubs perspective, other than potentially Imanaga. And Imanaga's been in a tough spot himself, but I still think it's a great spot here. In fact, I like I like the Cubs first 5. I like the Cubs full game. I think that you want to play them full game primarily, though, because you want to give the bats, more opportunity to kind of close the gap, if you will, close the ranks and do what they should be doing, right? More at bats means better opportunity for them to put runs on the board.
Clearly. Yeah, when you look at the Reds pitching, I'm looking at ESPN here. They do have Green listed as the ace. They have Abbott 2, Lodolo 3, Burns 4.
But they're not playing that way. They're starting Andrew Abbott as the ace.
All I'm saying is that the preseason expectation, and you know what it is? It's prototype, as I said. It's Hunter Green. The guy's 6'5", 250. He's in his 5th year, and he came up when he was like 20 years old. He's like a Yuri Perez, basically.
He's made 1 start this year. How's he their ace? It's
prototype. It's like when Garrett Cole comes back. He could be out for a year and a half. He's still like the list.
Garrett Cole's not their ace.
You know what I'm saying, though? Like Andy Abbott is just not an ace prototype.
He might be a quality guy, but the problem that I have with it and challenge that terminology is because I'm such a philosophical believer in 1 versus 1. And Hunter Green's not their 1. He could be prototype ace all he wants, but he's not their 1. And so the fact that they're not putting their 1 out there says that they're punting, and they're going to look to readjust. And it's like Schlittler and Cole. Cole was a number 1 a long time ago, but he came back from injury. And so he's no longer their 1. So some of these teams that recycle, it's like recycling tread on a tire, right? Like you get a team that takes a guy like Hunter Green, who's pitched for a number of years, and he's shown he knows how to go through the process, but you're not putting him out there as a 1 anymore. You got a former number 1 that's in the 3, which probably makes him like a 2, right? 3 minus 1 equals 2.
Well, here's the thing. Cole's 35. This guy's 26. So that wasn't a good comparison. Like, this dude's in the upward point of his journey. He's just, if you ask them, like, if you actually went into the clubhouse and asked the manager who their 1 is, he would tell you Hunter Green. That's who they want to be their 1.
I don't think he would.
He would not say Andy Abbott is their best.
Sure, he would. Right now, Andy Abbott's having a Cy Young season. He's one of the best 3 pitchers in Major League Baseball outside of, like, Ohtani.
Even Burns has far better numbers than Abbott, just for the record. But I think Burns is their best pitcher. I mean, I've been touting up Burns for weeks. We back him every time he pitches. But, I mean, Mike, I've said it before. You like Andy Abbott more than he likes himself. But he's not what they want their ace. Like, no team wants a crafty lefty who maxes out at 94 miles an hour to be their ace. They just don't want that. So
I certainly would prefer a Mizorowski that's throwing 108-mile-an-hour rockets across the fuck. Every time that guy throws a pitch, it's faster than the previous one.
Yeah, no, agreed. And again, great conversation here, but yeah. I do think Burns is the best pitcher, if I'm being honest. That all being said, we like the over in this game. I think Hunter Green gets hit, and I think Imanaga gives up the gopher ball on the road. Let's keep it moving down the line here. 7-10 in Miami, Interleague Baseball. The third one already on this card, one-off series, two opponents that really do not play each other often. Guardians traveling to South Beach tonight. Parker Messick at Sandy Alcantara. A very interesting dynamic here, Mike. You get Messick returning home to Florida, and you get Alcantara returning home to Florida off 2 Western wins. Marlins are the hottest team in the sport, Mike. Can they keep it going tonight?
Listen, I know you have a side that you really like, so I'll leave that to you, but I've got a total that I really like here, and it's the under. You know, I've been dropping some plays here early, trying to give you guys like beaten line movement opportunities out there. Gave you the Toronto Blue Jays for that afternoon game that was an absolute massacre, and we beat the line by like 15 cents in that thing. I got a spot there that I dropped out today, crushed the line as well, but this one almost got there, and it's because I want the under 7.5 in this battle. So I'll defer the side to my friend here, but as far as the total is concerned, like this does have what feels like the makings of a pitching duel. And boy, Shark, you talked about the first half of the season, how right you are. And as far as these two teams are concerned, like, doesn't it just got that feeling like we see this thing as you love talking about the time of the game. And I think that's such a great focal point to bring into the equation is just how long does this thing go? And I think that's because both these guys go 6-7 innings deep. They're mowing everybody down. And again, I'll defer side to you, but the total I really like in this game is the under 7.5. Almost was the overnight play of the day. I was concerned that it would move from 7.5 to 7, and I think that hooker is going to be so important here. Everybody wants a hooker on a Friday night.
Yeah, well, I got a bunch of them in Miami, I'm sure. That's a nice little spot here.
I can only imagine. I only imagine.
I don't think that Parker Messick is going to be distracted by hookers tonight in Miami. The buy hat is engaged, and I know Ix in the chat has been waiting around all week for this one. We're going to South Beach, and Messick will shove. And you look at this handicap. This is just great, great stuff, guys. So you look at both teams here and what's going on. The Marlins are just too hot. They've won 6 in a row. They just swept the Mariners. Friendly reminder, that's the second time the Mariners have gotten swept at a National League team this year already. So the Mariners, when they get their ass kicked on a road series versus the National League, they're just out the door. Forget the Mariners. They
got them twice in that series too, dude.
Horrible. And they got swept at San Diego early season too. So when the Mariners check out, they're just done. This is not that at all. And it is Parker Messick. And it is Parker Messick in Florida. For those of you guys who are unfamiliar with this guy, he went to high school in Florida. He was Mr. Baseball in Florida, the highest honor for a high school player. He went to Florida State, Seminoles, North Florida. He loves pitching in Florida. He's coming down here. He's also great against the National League. He's 4-0 this year at National League opponents. 2 earned runs in 24 and a third innings pitched. Whatever it is, when Messick sees a National League team on the road, he shoves. He beat the Dodgers on the road. He's beat other teams on the road far better than the Marlins. Not only that, he's coming here on an L3. The last time Messick lost 3 games, he had 8 base runners at home against a team and went on the road in the next game at the National League, not coincidentally, as a small underdog at Milwaukee, did win the game 4-2. This is where he will shove. It is absolutely fantastic. Let's talk Marlins baseball for a second. They're way too hot. The Marlins are the hottest team in the sport. They've won 6 in a row. Sandy Alcantara is 7-0 last 7. He's coming off of back-to-back road wins at Western Time, at Colorado, and at the Athletics. I am unimpressed. Those are 2 of the worst teams in the sport. You got to go back to early season. Alcantara won back-to-back road starts at the West, at San Francisco, and at the Dodgers. He was scorching hot. Came home off that trip. He got an opponent from the American League at home and had his worst start of the season against Baltimore, also as a small favorite, -123, losing the game 9-7. Everything in this game points directly to Messick and the Guardians and directly away from Alcantara, traveling from west to east, and the Marlins are too hot. It's absolutely elite handicap on both sides. The buy hat is engaged. Take the Guardians and let's cash.
You got me jacked up about all that Florida talk. Fucking Mr. Florida, Florida State. Like, dude, how does he not go out there and nuke everybody? The only concern I would have is how many friends and family are reaching out to him asking for tickets.
You talk about him being motivated in Florida and pitching well and maybe not being distracted by that element. Florida State is in North Florida. It's like 4.5 hours away from Miami. So he might not have people in Miami as like a center point. So I think it's like a perfect merge of him being hyper focused but not distracted at the same time. This is just an elite level handicap, and you guys can get it on the plus too. So you're not even like really out the door in terms of risk. Like so many bangers you hear across the industry are always like minus 150 plus, like this ace pitcher who's juiced has to shove. This is a plus odds banger, ladies and gentlemen. If you guys are tailing, type Guardians in the chat. Our guy Barry in the chat says, what's up, guys? What's up, chat? Fire it off with us, and let's keep it moving. Next game on the card, going to Tampa Bay tonight, Mariners-Rays. Game 1 of this series, Castillo at Martinez. Mike, we're talking about the Mariners. You get swept in Miami. Now you got to stay in Florida and face the Rays. The Mariners, for me, have some of the worst group psychology in the entire sport. Mike, this roster is way too good to be getting swept and looking so lethargic in the process. Do they bounce back tonight?
Yeah, so what's interesting with this line is it's kind of ping-ponging around. This is the video that I released last night. I said that I thought this line was going to be – I thought the number was wrong. And, kind of a bold statement to say that when it's baseball and 162 and you get a Mariners team coming in here. But you got – couple things going on. One of the best teams to open a series in baseball are the Tampa Bay Rays. And a lot of that has to do with their number one. Well, this is what we kind of talked about, previous conversation with the Reds and why it's important that we understand that dichotomy of what it looks like. And I don't disagree. Chase Burns is out there kicking ass and taking names. They got some chess pieces in that offense they can work with. Strategically, as do the Tampa Bay Rays. And Nick Martinez happens to be the gunslinger that goes into the woods, follows the blood trail, has nothing but his sword and his shield, Shark. And every time he comes home with dinner, man, he's like 15-1 right now against the American League. Seattle, on the other hand, when you get, Castillo on the road, you fade this dude, you're 9-1 out there. So whether it be a pitching duel or not, I really like this price for the Tampa Bay Rays. And I gave it out last night overnight. I'll double down on this thing here today because I like Tampa. I like Tampa in the first 5 too. I mean, look, the Mariners aren't winning games because their bats are fired up and they're taking bad breaks. Their bats are ice cold right now. They got hats for the bats, as we talked about the other day. And Tampa first 5 minus 122. Tampa full game. Sounds like good money here. Matter of fact, minus 108 on its way up. By the way, I did comment and say last night, Shark, minus 108, gonna move. Now we're seeing 124s and 125s in the marketplace. I like Tampa.
Yeah, I wouldn't disagree. The Mariners for me are just flat, straight up flat, just nothing going on. I mean, you saw this last night. We thought Miller would shove. He was abysmal. They still couldn't do anything with the bats. Go back to the previous game, get shut out. And as we said, you go from a sweep in Miami, you go to Tampa, you're not even leaving the state. Guys, I live in Florida. It's about 110 degrees outside. These teams from the Pacific Northwest, they don't want to be in Florida. So this is not like, let's get fired up to go play the Rays. No, I always say this, it's total hyperbole, but they're not going to forfeit the game. But I mean, if you said, hey guys, you could lose this game 8-1, you want to just screw it and go out to dinner, they'd be like, sure, we're going to the All-Star break. Forget this one. Like, they have no desire to be in this stadium tonight. And you talk about Castillo, he's been sketchy all year. Martinez is just totally on. I said this, Tampa Bay has really gotten in this guy's head in a good way. And final point on this, I mentioned the Mariners getting swept at San Diego early season. The game following that sweep, they came back against Texas and got shut out 5-0. So when the Mariners look flat and get swept at a National League team, they do not bounce back. They actually get shut out in the next game. Mike, I completely align with this. The Rays are a great look. Take the Rays and let's cash. Keeping it moving down the line here. Next game, Interleague Baseball, another one to close up the first half here. Opening the series in Queens tonight. Red Sox, Mets. Sonny Gray, 10-1 on the campaign. If only the Yankees had gotten that version of this guy going back 7 years, he'd still be in pinstripes. Now he's back in New York. He gets to face off against McLean. Mike, what's going on here?
Look, I got to go to the over in this game. And you probably look at it and go, well, shit, we got what'd you call them? The New York McLeans the other day. I love that. And of course, he's a stud. You got Sonny Gray and he's winning games out there. The problem I have, and so you get to 7.5 and so the surface, this should be a pitching duel and both teams go out there and maneuver, but there's a couple things that I look at with this game. Weather, clearly, right? We're in the dog days of summer. 2, let's look at the Mets bats. Juan Soto's woken the fuck up. And because of that, they're putting runs out there and they're getting leadoff homers and dudes are winning. I mean, they're winning, they're scoring runs. Then you look at Boston, same thing against the White Sox. They not a ton of runs, but they're putting runs on the board as well. So for a 7.5, we need like a 5-3 game. And I got that feeling with this game. I don't see 2-1. I see that these two teams go out there and try to put on some fireworks for the old Citi Field squad out there in Flushing. And I like this game to go over. Give me the 7.5. Give me the total.
Yeah, I said it earlier this week. The Mets should be called the McLeans. We're taking the McLeans tonight. Take the Mets in this game. And, we're talking about all these patterns developing in baseball here. You got a great one here. The Red Sox are coming off a sweep. You saw it over the last 3 days at the White Sox. And we've been telling you guys for the duration of the last 4 days, for whatever reason, the Red Sox absolutely own the Central Division in the American League. They are now, I believe, 12-1 last 13. So I went back and I looked. What do the Red Sox do after they sweep a road series at the AL Central? Last 2, both losses, both by 2+ runs. So, Mike, it's what you've been saying all year as well. The AL East is generally superior within the American League. They just dominate these teams outside of the division. But now you go interleague.
Yeah.
It's a total shift. And I think they kind of capped out yesterday. They barely beat the White Sox, if we're being honest, 2-1. The White Sox actually had 3 more hits in the game, just couldn't get runners across the plate. But I think this is where they really let down. And I think Sonny Gray is just too hot. He's 10-1. His ERA is under 3. He looks like one of the best pitchers in the American League. He's got to go back to the National League, where he did pitch last year with the St. Louis Cardinals. And not coincidentally, he did lose at Citi Field last year to Clay Holmes 7-4, giving up runs in the process, 11 hits in the game. I think the Red Sox are too hot. I think Gray's too hot. He's only given up 2 earned runs in his last 20+ innings pitched. He's coming off a road start at the Angels, staying on the road, LA to New York. McLean will shove in this game. The Mets have given up a couple games for McLean late. I think the Mets will lock it in and get the dub tonight. Our guys in the chat agree. Kelly says Boston -1. What she means there is if you bet Boston, you're going -1 unit tonight. Take the Mets and let's cash. We're having a good time. We're having a good time on this Friday. And let's have a better time because the next game on the card, we are going to the south side of Chicago. White Sox A's opening up a series, Mike. The White Sox better bounce back tonight. What's going on here?
I just watched the movie Hail Mary the other day there, and the alien and what's his name, Ryan Gosling, and Ryan Gosling tells jokes and the alien doesn't understand. And at the very end of the movie, the alien tells a joke, and Ryan Gosling turns around and is like, "Did you just tell a joke?" I'm not saying that you're an alien, but you caught me good, like the alien caught him. Gave me a good out loud chuckle. So sometimes you gotta have fun with it, or what are you doing it for here? But I think you and I agree here with the South Side. Lopez ain't the guy. Sean Burke and the White Sox coming off that lackluster series against the Red Sox here. Doesn't surprise me. You put red in the laundry with white, what happens? Red dominates. It ends up turning pink. And you got to bleach that shit to get it back to white if you can get there at all. And so the bleach is coming in. The Athletics are going to take it. And if you drink the bleach, it ain't going to be good for you here. So give me the White Sox to figure this thing out. I think you got to go with the run line, though. Obviously, this price tag and what we're looking at from a dollars and cents perspective, it only makes the most sense to me. I can show some stats about what happens and how they do it. And it's got an 8.5. It's on its way to a 9. Maybe a White Sox team total at 4.5 kind of makes a lot of sense too. Bottom line, I know you're going to talk about it here. Athletics are getting the shit kicked out of them right now. So go ahead, tell us about it.
Yeah, we're back, ladies and gentlemen. The buy hat is engaged, and feels good to
Not
put it
bad.
on. It's been a long time, it feels like. But you know what it's also been a long time for? Murakami in the lineup of the White Sox. He comes back tonight. He will be the necessary jolt for this team. But let's go back to the conversation about the A's for a second. This is the biggest sell team in the sport right now. They're 1-10 last 11. They're playing kind of out the stretch here, the string of the first half. All road games. Just got clobbered the last three at Detroit. You stay in this division. Now you go to the White Sox. It just doesn't get any better. I think this is funeral status for the A's. I think they were way too hot early season. We kind of fell in love with them. We got to remember, it's one of the worst teams in the sport the last 3 or 4 years. You go to the White Sox point of this conversation, they're coming off a sweep, as we mentioned, against Boston. This is the beautiful thing about this sport. You get to sell Boston off the sweep. You get to buy the White Sox off the sweep. The White Sox this year are 6-0 straight up if coming into a game off 3 consecutive losses, and they are 5-1 in those games versus the -1.5 run line. Speaking of runs, let's talk about run differential. A's are 11 games under 500, which for them actually looks pretty representative, like solid. You're improving. They actually have the worst run differential in the entire American League. So what that means was they were actually winning way too many coin flips to get to that record. And now it really is pulling the other direction. This is a really interesting point for the White Sox to put Murakami back into the lineup tonight. I've written down here, they're not waiting until after the All-Star game. Like, this occurred to me a couple hours ago when I was handicapping this. This guy is one of their best hitters, clearly. He's an absolute dynamite home run hitter. They could have kept him on the shelf until next Friday. You see this in every sport. You know, you get a bye week. You don't put your player in for one game to maybe re-injure. They're putting him in for a random series here against the A's over the weekend leading into the All-Star break. You know what that is? The White Sox have the lead in the Central. They don't want to rescind that lead over the weekend and go into the break in second place. It's a morale thing for their group to keep the group fired up over the break. This guy, Venable, great manager, he knows. We want to take care of business this weekend. This is an opportunity for us to crush the A's and really set the table for a high-level all-star break. And if you look at this series within the window in the last 2 years, the A's were actually 5-1 last year against the White Sox, including a blowout win, Jeffrey Springs at Burke last April. Mike, the last time Burke was at home against the A's were laying -160. And the A's won the game by 9. Now he's laying 160. I think the White Sox could win this game by 9 runs. Alt run line this shit out of the stadium. Mike, you think we can get to like -3.5 potentially?
I could see that. I could see margin developing here for sure. I mean, like I said, I like the run line. Sometimes, you know, you'll hear me say that we talked about it earlier this week. It's not worth the price. And that's just my way of saying, like, look for a way to play the other side of this thing here. But no, I think you're right. And, you know, it's kind of like you talk about the coach, and this is where the experience comes into play, right? Like, depends. Everyone's coaching at a different level. Like Tortorella comes into the Vegas Golden Knights here 2 weeks before the Stanley Cup playoffs. And he's like, look, I'm just going to try to keep these guys, you know, on the right track with the experience. It's an experienced group. They just need a little nudge and being told where you know, there's not like a young group where you got to get in their face and start screaming. There are some teams, you know, you look at Don Mattingly. He's trying to nudge this Phillies team so that they can stay motivated and engaged and have some fun and stay loose during the All-Star break. Then when you're a marathon runner, you don't stop running right before the finish line. You run through the finish line. And that's what this coach and just general manager is doing with the ball club. So, yeah, I think it's a great look. And I think you want to continue to keep them motivated and fired up. They're not a lot of guys, you know, we'll see who gets to the All-Star break when it's down to it here. But why not? Why not see them go out there? And, you know, that's the thing about the Athletics. If there is going to be a team that wants to play the victim role, you know, the old baby seal, happens to be the Athletics. So -2.5 is +188. Think about that in terms of the margin. It's like +135 for +130 for -1.5. To go to 2.5, they're only moving it like 50 cents. 3.5 starts to move around that 90 cents mark or so. So yeah, I think the books are showing vulnerability around a 4-run game. If you want to get ballsy and go -4.5, it's +391, +392. So I think you could see a 3-4 run margin develop here.
Yeah, no, I agree. And I honestly, I'm still working on it. I will post where I get to. I do think 4 runs is the cap point. 3.5 would be the line. And let's keep it moving. Next game on the card, Astros Rangers divisional baseball tonight in Arlington. Hunter Brown against Cal Quantrill. Tough game for me here, Mike. You're looking at the Astros, I think, theoretically in some sort of bounce back. Kind of tough pitching matchup. What do you think about this one?
Yeah, I'm pretty short with this one. I like the Astros. I don't like what I'm seeing out of Texas baseball. We know the YRFI. I know Kelly V made a comment about that again the other day. I saw it on Twitter. Yeah, the Texas YRFI is like the fucking gift that keeps on giving. Used to be an understadium at Globe Life to start the field here or to start the year, but you talked about the rewound baseballs, the juice balls out there. Baseball's trying to compete with the World Cup right now, so they don't want to have some boring, albeit that Reds and Phillies series. They don't want to have some boring 1-0 situations out there. Here's where Hunter Brown has the bounce back advantage. You got a Rangers team. Now, the Rangers, great win yesterday. Great sneak out. I mean, they almost imploded against the Angels and then found a way to come back and finish the job off here. But they do struggle against righties. You're 223 and 159 over the last 5 seasons. So it's not like there's just a pocket of resistance. They do struggle. They struggle against the AL West. You're winning at a 61% rate over the last 9 years here. And so divisional road teams here, you've got to look at the favorite, take a shot with them boys over the last. Everything just points to if this is a coin flip, and it is, right? Look at these two records, 46 and 49, 47 and 46. We'll use the historical advantage. Let the books dictate the way that you play this game and take the Houston Astros. I'll tell you what, don't take Yordan Alvarez to get a home run. Every time I take that fucking guy to get a home run, he does nothing. And he hasn't done shit in like a week, so he cost me a couple times in the home run derby. And he's got a tough spot in the order too, right? I mean, just from waiting for this guy to hit home runs, I can tell you he's right behind Altuve. And it's the same problem that you see like a Bryce Harper and Schwarber situation kind of compromise out there. It's like you're walking one of the two dudes. So you're going to pitch to Altuve and you're going to end up walking, your daddy out there. So for everybody that thinks he's going to go out there and knock the ball out of the yard, be careful with that one here. But I do think it's a nice little Houston Astros spot and a little player breakdown for you as well.
Yeah, every time you say your daddy, I think you're going Pedro Martinez for some reason. But no, we're talking Astros 2020. I have nothing in this game. Tough game. Quantrill is not going to pitch long into the game. He's kind of like a mid-range opener fringe guy. And Hunter Brown got rocked in his previous start. Theoretically a bounce back. But again, centering the conversation, we're going to the All-Star break. So you suck last weekend. Are you really that focused before you go on vacation? Maybe, maybe not. Not entirely sure. Tough game for me, and we will keep it moving. Next game on the card, 8:15 in St. Louis tonight, in Minnesota tonight. Angels Twins opening up a weekend series here. Grayson Rodriguez at Zebby Matthews. Twins coming off a divisional series. Angels throwing Rodriguez back into the fire. Mike, what's going on here?
Yeah, I'll be short. I like the Angels. I think that they showed some life and some spirit with their bats. I don't care about the travel. They just went straight up right up the gut of the. It's the old I formation of the country, and they ran right through the tackles to get to Minnesota from Texas. On top of that, Zebby Matthews. I'm not sure I like what's going on with this dude. He had some foot problem last week, and so they pulled him. His start was compromised by a foot ailment, and if it's a blister or something that was on his foot, it's kind of a critical piece in building the foundation of throwing the meat. So I'll fade him for that reason, but I also like runs. I think both these teams have shown it. We talked about the cluster effect with the Minnesota Twins at home here, so kind of just playing the hunch that maybe Zebby Matthews' foundation isn't quite right, and the Angels can clip that thing. And by the way, my brother gave out the Mike Trout home run yesterday. It didn't come to fruition. And how many times have we all said, oh, it's the next day that he cracks the ball yardstick. So look for Trout to get the homer. Look for the Angels to win. Look for the game to go over.
Yeah, I agree. I don't own an Angels hat. Maybe I'll order one tonight. Taking the Angels money line plus 133. Great spot, Mike. I agree 100%. And, you talk about Trout teeing off. I don't know what's going on with Matthews in terms of his injury right now, but you go back to last year. He actually did pitch at the Angels in September. Absolutely terrible numbers. He took a 12-2 loss. 4 2/3 innings pitched, 7 hits, 2 walks, 5 earned runs. And you talk about Trout maybe going yard. I'm looking at the box score here. Trout went 2 for 4 off this guy with 3 runs scored. He did give up a home run to Moncada and Taylor. I think he's going to get rocked tonight. And you look at the situation here for Grayson Rodriguez. Rodriguez has not faced the Twins in 2 years. He did pitch for Baltimore. He had an injury. He missed all last year. But last time he faced the Twins, he had great numbers, quality start, margin, win. And this year, very interesting first season with the Angels. 5 home starts in LA. He's looked actually horrible at home. He's given up 7 earned runs, 4, 7, 2, and 2. He got injured on Sunday, June 14th. He's been out for about a month. Only road start of the year, Mike. We love this stuff. It wasn't a divisional start out west. It wasn't at the Yankees. It was a start at the AL Central as a small dog. And he pitched great. 1 earned run on a solo shot at Detroit on May 28th. 7-1 Angels. I gave you guys Rodriguez in that game. I remember we were on the show. I'm not sure what the conversation was, but I said to you guys, he doesn't pitch well out west. He's going to shove on the road. It's the same thing, and it's so beautiful because it is the same division. I think the Angels take care of business. Great take in this game. Take the Angels and let's cash. Keeping it moving down the line here. 8:15 in St. Louis.
Before we keep her on moving down the line, let me set a gentle reminder out there to everybody. If you enjoy the content, give us a thumbs up.
If you haven't dropped a like, please do it right now, and let's keep it moving. Next game, we're going to St. Louis. Sale Leahy tonight. Braves at Cardinals. Mike, this is your classic overpriced Sale game on the road. Any thoughts?
Yeah, I don't want to get involved in the Sale business here, but I do want to be involved in some trend on the Sale business, and that is the under in this game here. What a great spot, too, because it kind of speaks to the cluster effect. You know, I talk about the blow mode theory, right? Like, not sure how they do it on some of them sets, man, too, because the recoil rate has to be tremendous here. But first game of a series, if you're on the road, off the road. So you're in the road, you're in the blinders on, we're just going through, and you put up 10 or more runs, struck out 10 or more times. Kind of an anomaly in itself right there, right? High strikeout rate, a shit ton of runs, incredible efficiency on a total 8 or less. It's 4-1 to the under. Doesn't happen very often. When it does stay under the number here. So this line opened at 8.5. It's down to 8s. We're starting to see some 7.5s on top of that. I'll take the under 8.
Yeah, I wouldn't disagree. I have nothing in this game. This is your classic Sale price on the line on the road. It's just garbage. Take the under. Let's cash and let's keep it moving. 3 late night games tonight. First one in San Diego. Blue Jays staying out west. Shane Bieber at JP Sears. Mike, really one of these yet again. These interleague series, not a lot of data. Tough game for me. What do you think?
Simple. Bieber's fucking terrible right now. You know, I talked about this and we caught a Toronto win, and I'll take it. It was kind of a situational spot. The situational spot was this. They just fired off on Seattle. They were coming in there with a great pitching advantage, and they got the job done. Put some runs on the board. The problem here is they're still a bottom. They're the 30th team in WRC plus. I mean, they're terrible right now when it comes to their bats being consistent. So you got consistently inconsistent bats. You got Shane Bieber with a 9. That's not a typo. That's a 9 for this guy. He's not what he was, probably laboring and dealing with injuries. And then on the other side of things, you got the best. Well, it's no longer the best, but top 3 bullpen in baseball. In an under situation. They're used to the unders. They're used to catching a quick lead. I'll go one further here. We got the Trout. We're building a home run parlay, you guys. I like San Diego Padres, and I like Tatis. Yesterday was Meet Dick Machado going yardstick. It's either Meet Dick or it's Tatis, and it wasn't Tatis last night. So where does that leave us? Tatis tonight. Let's go.
Yeah, I'll defer to you. Tough game for me. As we said, both these pitchers, not a lot of data, new teams recently, just garbage. Anyway, I like the home run prop, and we will keep it moving. Next game on the card, finishing up the card yet again tonight with 2 late night games, both divisional games in the NL West. Diamondbacks Dodgers opening up tonight. Ohtani versus Eddie Rodriguez. Here we are again, Dodgers baseball Friday night, laying almost 3-1. Mike, is there any access?
These are those spots where you love to fade Ohtani. You know what I mean? Like he's in that, we talked about it, the favorite roll over 180. And my God, You got a situation with Erod. We got the Rodriguez fellas on the bump tonight. Rodriguez finds himself really in a unique situation. If it wasn't so, at first glance, you're like, all right, it's the Dodgers, right? Like, big price tag on the Dodgers. What's this Erod guy going to do? But the reality is, if he gave up at least 2 earned runs his previous start, he goes out there and mows them down. So he's 8-0 is how I define mowing him down. It was only 6 innings, by the way. So, or I should say it was 6 innings. It wasn't like he did it in the second. So he held his own. And if Ohtani and that big favorite struggles, then I'm good with a price tag here for the Arizona Diamondbacks. And contrary to that, what we saw in that series with the Colorado Rockies, I don't know if I want to sacrifice the value. I mean, plus 1.5 is plus 108, maybe 3/4 of a unit on the Diamondbacks run line and a quarter on the Diamondbacks money line at plus 223 here. But I'll take a shot with them, man. I think, and where I think is a really good shot given those factors, why not look at the first 5? First 5 is plus 205. In this case, you might not even be that mad about taking the plus 0.5. You catch a plus 0.5 at plus 145 right now. The reason I say that is the way Ohtani pitches, right? He's giving you 6 innings. You're going to maybe get 2 hits. If you're lucky, you'll get a run, but probably not. And if Erod goes 6 innings, only gives up 2 runs, and in that process, he's catching the win, maybe he only gives up 1 run. So if you got a 0-0 or 1-1 and you catch the plus 0.5 for the Diamondbacks at plus 140 in the first half, I think that's a really strong look too.
Yeah, tough game for me. Both pitchers have great matchup data this season against the opponent. Ohtani had a shutout win at Arizona, 7-0. Eddie Rodriguez did win recently at home against the Dodgers, 4-1 in the same series. This is kind of a funky line, if I'm being honest. When you see both pitchers basically acing the opponent and the line is sitting here at 8.5, this is honestly just a real candid first take for me saying this, but this reminds me of what I said about Detmers Eovaldi last night. Looked like an under, 2 real high upside pitchers, and all of a sudden the game exploded for 13 runs. You say to yourself, why is this line at 8.5, not 7.5 between these pitchers? I honestly could see an over in this game. It just came to my head in the last 30 seconds, but tough game for me. Just something to keep in mind, guys. The line does look a little stinky high for 2 pitchers that have been completely in control this year against these opponents. Mike, what was the official?
Didn't that Texas game go over, though, outside of the starting pitchers? Wasn't it the bullpen that bet on both sides?
It did go. Well, 13 runs. Obviously, it took 9 innings to get there, but there was an explosion early. Like when I was watching it, I was like, "Oh shit, we're not getting our over." I think it was 5-1 Texas in the first 5 or something.
Yeah, I know it was early that they scored, but they were still kind of hanging on until I thought it was like the 7th or 8th inning where the cork came out of the bat, so to speak, and then it was like bang, and yeah, 7-6-5. It was because it was like 6-4, right? And yeah, it was a tough one either way.
Yeah, Eddie Rodriguez this year, 2 games against the Dodgers, finished 3-2 at LA. It was actually the first series of the year back in March. He gave up 0 earned runs, and then 4-1 at home, he gave up 1 earned run. And Ohtani's given up 0 earned runs. So 0, 1, and 0, and your line is 8.5. I don't know. Juice balls Friday night in LA, pre-All-Star break. Maybe something happens in this game. Be careful of the under, guys. And let's keep it moving. Final game of the card. As we said, 2 divisional games out west tonight. Rockies-Giants game 2. Only game 2 on the entire card. You saw it last night. The Giants took care of business. I missed that, Cap. I will own that, of course. Feltner did not shove, and the Giants took care of business. But, Mike, he overdid backdoor in that game fairly egregiously. Handful of garbage runs late, couple home runs. Now you get another low line. You get Robbie Ray at home, Mike. Maybe we're going back to the under tonight. What do you think?
Robbie Ray's a killer. Robbie Ray's a killer at home. Robbie Ray, get the win. I bet that already. What did I get that at? Let me see. Robbie Ray to catch the win. Plus 165 for Ray to get the win. And it just came down to the situation. Robbie Ray, he doesn't lose, especially at home, especially against a team like Colorado. I talked about the collective exhale yesterday. We had a little fun going back and forth about it here, but I think the reality is when you put your nuts on the line and they get slapped into the mousetrap, you're not so quick to put your nuts back on the line anymore. That hurts. It stings. Leaves a little bit of a mark too, from what I hear. But Robbie Ray, 85-48. He's caught 6 wins in a row in this position. This last year, Robbie Ray I mean, this is incredible. He's 38-18. He's won 8 straight. So give him respect. Put some respect on his name on top of that here. It's a pricey tag. So the question is, how do you approach it? And I think that's one of the finest ways to do it here. I don't mind taking that first 5 spot either. If we're going to look to complete the old home run parlay, which I am, I'm looking at Hunter Goodman. Now I talked about Mickey Moniak, right? I can respect some of the numbers that are going on with this guy. And the problem I have in that situation is Robbie Ray doesn't give up homers to lefties, gives them up to righties. And so 14 of his 15 homers on the year have come to righties. I'll take a shot with Hunter Goodman to get that home run. I got a 3-leg home run parlay I just built here on the show today.
Yeah, I like it. We can revisit that in the best bet segment. I'm going to give you guys the under in this game. This is going to go under tonight. Last night we got backdoored. We stay the course, and the pitching matchup is great for an under in this spot. Robbie Ray will shove it home. He's already faced the Rockies twice this year, both on the road. Only 4 earned runs at Coors. He will be better here. This is actually his first divisional home start of the entire season. Not entirely sure how it took that long, but tons of out-of-division home games. Go to the other side of this conversation, however, Tanner Gordon. Very similar to what we just told you guys about Grayson Rodriguez. This guy, Tanner Gordon, is a terrible home pitcher for the Rockies at Coors Field. He is an under-road pitcher. Last 3 starts all at home. 19-6 against the San Francisco Giants. 7-6 against the San Francisco Giants. Friendly math on a Friday, that's 25 runs. And then 13 lines, 11.5 and 12. And now you're at 8.5. Why? His only road start this year in the division at the Dodgers, super high degree of difficulty, 1 earned run in 5 innings. The game went under 8.5, 5-3. This is where Gordon will pitch much better. The market, you will hear this, guys, all across the internet. People will say, oh, wow, overs every time Gordon pitches. Not on the road. You're going to get a real tight one. The market agrees. You're starting to see 7.5s pop up in the market here. Great under. Take the under and let's cash. And Mike, we have best bets.
Yes, we do. That gets you fired up for a Friday. It certainly does for me. I like this Cleveland. Well, let's start with this. Let's start with the 3-leg parlay here, you guys. This is a fun spot. Manage your bankroll appropriately, please. This is not the get-rich-quick scheme. 3-leg home runs, Goodman, Hunter Goodman, Fernando Tatis, and Mike Trout. It's about 87-1. So think about that in relation to being responsible. I even gingerly give it out, but I will because we talked about it. And I had those 3 guys as my top 3 for the day. Cleveland, I'll go with the under 7.5. I've got the Houston. Oh, that's I think that was minus 108. Houston minus 130. I'll take the Houston Astros in that spot. I'm going to take that Atlanta under 8. That's minus 105. And give me the over 9 in that Minnesota LA game. Last but not least, I'll take San Diego Padres here at minus 117. Oh, you know what? Sorry, Shark. Let me go one more. Give me the Arizona Diamondbacks. I'll take that first 5 plus a half at plus 140.
All right, I got 3 buy hats for you guys. I'm taking the Tigers minus 113. Taking the what's the second one? The Guardians at these games are all over the place. Guardians plus 108, and the White Sox. We'll give you guys the run line. See what the price is here now.
I saw 138 plus 138.
Yeah, plus 138. And we'll go with Mike and I both like the Angels. I'll give you guys the Angels at plus 133. And we'll go back to the under, at the Rockies game at the Giants. Under 8.5. That will be a very contrarian spot late night. So that's 5 for me, Mike, and let's do a parlay.
Let's get to it, you guys. How about we go with let's go with Tampa Bay. We'll take the full game for Tampa Bay. Talked about Seattle being flat in that spot as well. Love it. Let's take San Francisco first 5 money line.
Okay.
We don't need the half. That way, we don't need the half. That way your boy can still shove and it's okay. And then
why don't we just go with the White Sox money line?
All right.
Minus 150.
Because it has been so successful when we do it together live on the show, we'll take a second and punch it in right now so we don't have to deal with it later or forget to put it in later and then be like, shit, we were 5 of our 6 and then we forgot. How do you forget? What the heck just happened out there? Let's go. We got the White Sox. We got the Tampa Bay Rays, and we'll go down to San Francisco first 5. San Fran first 5 minus 160. That's a 391. It's a little 391er. I like it. Shark, that's a great way to put a bow on the show. Now, there's a lot of things happening this weekend that you guys need to be in the know about. Today, 3 p.m., World Cup Mikey's back. We're going to go live. We're going to do the thing we do. We colored up yesterday, and we continue to cash like nobody else in the entire stratosphere. It is a historic run that your boy is on in the World Cup. And I say that confidently without equivocation, Shark, because I'm not one of them game players, 3%, 4%, 5%. Give me a 5% play. I got to ask what your record is at 5% versus your record at 3%. And when your follow-up response is, I don't really know, I'm up 10 units. I call bullshit. I call scam. These are flat bets, singular attack and approach in the marketplace, and nobody does it like we do it. So we'll be live at 3 p.m. I got 7 plays I'll line up for with this World Cup spot. So I'll be talking about all of them. I've given them out to my winnable subscribers already. Then, tomorrow, UFC. McGregor is back. It's Holloway McGregor 2, UFC 339 at T-Mobile in Las Vegas. Sports Money Network will be live. Shark, nobody wins at the UFC like the Sports Money Network does. I can't say it loud and more proud than the seriousness and the quality of the product that we continue to strive to put forward through in delivering a 6-hour live stream show, giving you guys plus money plays galore, plus 900s, plus 1100s, plus 1500s, plus 2000s. There's 2 soccer games tomorrow. There's a ton of Major League Baseball going on as well. And so we'll be breaking it all down like a pound here on the Sports Money Network, Shark. Excited to get after it, man. The weekend is just beginning. And I'm so excited to continue the second half of the baseball season with you, my friend. What's going on in the world of Sharky Water Nations?
All of it. All of it. No, it's so much appreciation. That is, of course, over an hour of the final card of the first half, guys. We appreciate you guys hanging out with us back in March when you were getting to know us all the way through today. And, of course, it will continue starting next Friday as we open up the second half of the season. As always, guys, manage your bankroll. There's nothing worse than being overmanaged, overmortgaged on a play that loses, and then looking at the next card and saying, this is a great card. I can't even bet it. And as Mike said, we're betting the World Cup. Mike is hitting at a historical rate. Trust me, I talk to this guy every day. It is facts and business only in UFC tomorrow night. Mike, maybe I'll pop on there with a glass of wine. I'm fired up for a little McGregor. But I am fired up for this show, and I'm fired up for you guys in the chat as we build together, and the beginning really is right now. We will see you guys a week from today at 12 noon next Friday, the 17th. That is it for this one. Have a great weekend, and please bet responsibly. That is MLB Bases Loaded, the Friday edition, July the 10th, 2026. For Mike, I'm the Shark. Stay fast, stay strong, stay disciplined, and let's dominate.
I'm like an addict, do I gotta have it. I ain't even playing, got a really bad habit. If it moves, gotta grab it, fuse like a magnet. Lose, won't have it till I'm doomed in a casket. I ain't playing, got a weird mind. If you work 8 hours, I'ma work 9. If the shit tastes sour, you should taste mine.